Boom. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your boy, Chad, the Chad, and welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I'm just kind of currently just making videos, just having discussions. Who knows where this will lead when I have ideas. But the thing that I have been discussing and kind of thinking about the most, because I do think it's probably the most relative aspect to the culture war, or at least one of the most relevant aspects to the culture war, to the future of the United States. You know, I did a video on why I thought America was done for. And I mean, I still believe that. I do. And one huge component to that, and it all kind of ties together, is how far Christianity in the West is going or has fallen. I remember when I went to Spain, and it's not just America, okay? Actually, in America, Christianity is probably doing better than any other Western country. Now, you know, I don't have the numbers in front of me to support that. I want to pull this up real quick. Homosexual conservatives. I remember I went to Spain to visit my family. I am 25% Spanish, and it was probably one of the most influential things I have done in my life. The three most influential things in my life has been sports. I mean, I literally was the only white dude on an all-black basketball team out of Oakland, and many of the guys went on to play Division I basketball. And a few play in the NBA. You know, I played Division I water polo. I would say my trip to Spain was one of them, and then the other would be how many times I moved elementary schools and learned how to make friends relatively easily and quickly. I'm not really sure where I left off before I paused it, but either way, the bottom line is that, so I went to Spain, and this is where I left off. And, you know, I had a socialist cousin who believed the only agreeing thoughts we had was nationalistic pride in our respective countries. Excuse me. In between this, I've been working out, but he was a socialist. I remember going to one of his meetings. Literally, the dude had, Russian oligarchs on his thing. Whatever the Russian dictators' names were. I mean, you have Hitler, and you have the guy that's name starts with an S, Stalin. And he had those. And I quickly came to realize, and so we would go out every single day in Salamanca near Madrid and fucking go out on the town. And one of the things that we did was we would visit these beautiful, gorgeous churches, but they were empty. They were absolutely fucking empty. And the reason was simple. Spain and many European countries had abandoned the church. Not necessarily Christianity, because those are two different things. They had abandoned the Catholic Church, not the same thing as abandoning Christianity altogether. And I remember having discussions with them, and most of my family members believed in God. They did, but they just didn't identify with the church anymore. And You see the same thing happening in America, particularly in the conservative movement. And by the way, when I'm saying this, if you are a Christian, it says in the Bible to love thy neighbor. So even it's possible, in my opinion, to put your foot down and disagree and tell somebody what they're doing is wrong, such as homosexuality, but also still love them, still be courteous to them. Okay. Acceptance is a whole nother strand of operating socially. And it's happening in America. You have these mega churches where they never preach on evolution, which is a huge, huge fucking thing when it comes to Christianity. I mean, when I was in school, I remember learning about evolution and thinking to myself, if this is true, there's no God, there's no way. And because I was so firm in my belief, I, went against the grain and argued against evolution. Now that I'm 26 years old and have a master's degree and have been indoctrinated with evolution, and years have gone by, I mean, there's some pretty significant gaps in the hypothesis, not theory, of evolution. But that's a whole different discussion for another day. They don't speak on evolution, creation, which are huge things to discuss. They don't teach or preach about homosexuality, being what's the word? Egalitarian versus complementarian. I graduated from 2 Christian universities, and the idea of egalitarianism, which is what America is, they believe in the genders being equal and the same. The professor did not push and advocate for egalitarianism, but he didn't push for complementarianism either. He was pretty much 50-50, okay? And I remember everybody in my class being like, well, of course you believe in egalitarian, you should be an egalitarian. I was the only one who argued, saying, no, we are different and we complement each other. So you don't hear the church discussing gender roles, especially in marriage. A couple months ago, I went to church, and the dude who was preaching literally said, women, you must allow your husband the chance to lead. Which, okay, fine, that's not the craziest statement, but in and of itself, if someone has to allow someone to do something else, who's really in charge? It's the person who allows the other person to do the other thing. And I remember thinking at that moment in time, like, damn, we really do live in an egalitarian, gynocentric, matriarch in America. So the church, and I don't want to go down that. I can do a separate video on that, discussing complementarianism versus egalitarianism and some of the things that the Bible teaches about, and some things in psychology that shows that genders are different, especially in their brain and their thought process. But the bottom line is the church does not even touch on those things. The church is as fucking vanilla as it gets. And the bottom line is people look towards, that's why those institutions exist, so that people, everyday people, can look to them and find out what the correct answer is if they don't know themselves. And the bottom line is the church just doesn't want to give those answers. They're afraid to. And so even in America, you're seeing a mass exodus from the church. not only that, let's go back to the gender roles, but men in particular are leaving the church because the church absolutely, just like every other institution in America, just like every single other one, protects women way more. Maybe protect is the wrong word, but is on the side of women way more than they are towards men. You know, a woman can go to church and beg for forgiveness for getting fucked 5 times in the past week by 5 different dudes, giving 6 blowjobs to, you know, fucking 6 different people, and go to church and say, please forgive me. And the church will say, she's born again. Let's put her on a pedestal and love her. Whereas if a guy goes to church and cheats, he's gone. He's gone from the church. You know, fuck him. Fuck you, dude. So the church just doesn't really aid men anymore. They're not really on the side of men anymore. There's no, the church used to be an outlet for men. I mean, you look at American churches and you have women becoming pastors. I got news for you. In the Bible, it absolutely says that is not okay. So what I'm getting at is very simple. And I have Dave Rubin here, you know, Brandon Straka, you know, Rob Smith, and Milo Yiannopoulos used to be this way, but Milo is probably the most influential character in the conservative movement, and he is now ex-gay, which is, again, a whole other conversation about, you know, are people born homosexual or not? And, you know, he has moved away from that life and he has moved towards the church, and that is the right answer, honestly, because if you follow conservatism to its logical conclusion, you cannot escape Christianity. You cannot escape the importance of Christianity in America on an individual level, on a marital level, anything and everything. And you have, just like the church, which is predominantly conservative, that is basically saying homosexuality is A-okay, you have the conservative party doing the exact same thing. Let's pull up Caitlyn Jenner here and have a little fun with that. Let's have a little fun with that. Caitlyn Jenner. Oh, it's with a C, my bad. And so what I'm saying is very simple, that until the conservative church in America decides to put their foot down, not only is America done or done for, but the church will be done for as well. You know, I've met so many Christians in my life who, you know, act as though being a Christian is mutually exclusive from being a conservative. And maybe it is, or politics, maybe it is, but that does not excuse you from implementing and showing your life to the masses and showing that the Christian virtuous life is the correct one. And you have all of these Christians nowadays basically saying, well, I'm a Christian, but I'm not going to push it on anybody else. I'm not going to do that. Meanwhile, they're, you know, they keep budging on homosexuality, on transgender, you know, this and this and this. And it's like, fuck, what do you guys even believe in anymore? So until that gets rectified, it's going to be a downward spiral. And if you are a conservative before you are a Christian, you better hope that Christianity soon decides to put their foot down and become more prominent in American culture than it currently is, because the way it is now, it is dying and dying a very quick, I was going to say a slow death, but it is starting to be a pretty significant decline downward. So there's a lot of things in what I just said that, you know, I could do separate videos on, you know, gender roles, you know, homosexuality, being born with it, or it being a learned behavior, environmental, as they say, and things like that. Maybe I will get into all of those things. But the main thing that I wanted to say is that side by side, you have the Christian church and the Republican Party appeasing and acquiescing to every request of society. And that is why they are getting fucked and losing big time. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button, comment, let me know what you guys think. And DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. Facts or feelings, your feelings don't matter. See y'all later. I hope you guys enjoyed Life as a Chad. Late.